Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tabor Talk. Boy, nasty day here in the Catskills. That cold rain. And hey, it's mischief night, goosey night. What did you used to call the night before Halloween? Absolutely love this time of the year. So, I have not done a video on Rogan in quite some time. I devoted a huge chunk of this channel to dissecting JRE, the Joe Rogan Experience. And as I said in a video I did, I don't know, 6, 7 months ago, I'm done. I don't listen to him anymore. He's a totally different guy. He's basically this right winger guy, right wing propagandist. All of these grifters are on a show, right wing grifters like the Weinstein brothers, and then right wingers, Ben Shapiro, Tim Pool, Crowder, on and on and on, right? And it's if I go through these comments, I could see it's really since COVID, which really pushed him over the edge. I'm not going to repeat myself. Anyway, one of my regulars, regular viewing here is Pod Save America with John Favreau and the boys, right? Or as Tim Pool would say, the boys. Anyway, the name of the clip here is explains how Joe Rogan became the biggest podcaster in the world. And his guest is Johnny Harris, who spent some time, actually did a documentary, and he said he listened to hundreds, if not thousands of hours of Joe Rogan, didn't know anything about him. And I got to tell you, he's on point, some of the things, but for the most part, he totally misses it. First of all, in defense of Joe, like he's saying that he's racist and misogynistic. Come on, man. That's simply not true. Like, I don't like Rogan anymore, and he's become basically a right-wing propagandist asshole. But he's not a racist, and he's not a misogynist. Another comment saying that he's like the bar sports stool, whatever that is. Joe Rogan doesn't even like sports. He knows nothing about sports. That's another big turnoff. The only thing he knows is mixed martial arts, combat sports, and UFC. And that he knows very well. So my question is, let's see, there are 552 comments so far. This was just uploaded last night, and every single one of them, or almost, was negative. My experience exactly. Hey, I was a huge Joe Rogan fan. I listened religiously from 2012 to 2017, and then something started happening. Something started changing, comments here and there, until now he's just full-blown right-wing jerk-off, right? And on here. Great example of how Rogan doesn't tell the truth, lying, blah, 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 blah. He's not the Joe I used to listen to, blah, blah, blah. Okay, my question is, before they even started in the intro, is John Favreau says, Joe Rogan, the biggest podcast in the world with an average of 11 million views per episode. And my question is, are those numbers right? Like, how could that be? Look at all these comments that say they don't listen to Joe Rogan anymore. I mean, I know obviously very small sample size. How can that be? I've left. I was a diehard. I listened to no matter what it was, every minute of every podcast. I didn't care if it was on fishing or hunting. I'm not into that, or cars. I know nothing about cars. I'm not a food guy. But I love the show. I love the hang. But I know that people on the left, or even in the center, kind of like they can't stand his politics now. He's just this right wing jerk off. So how is it that he's still at 11 million? So anyone knows, here's the problem with Spotify, that it's hard to verify unless you're kind of in the end. Like YouTube, you could just go on, oh, you have this many subscribers, this many views. You could see how the channel's doing. Spotify doesn't have those numbers that I could see. I don't see what's going on here. How do they calculate this? Where are the data points, et cetera, et cetera? And here's what I've always said. Here's another comment. Joe Rogan's greatest strength is coming off as your average Joe to your average American. Exactly. done dozens. If you're interested in my take on why Joe Rogan is appealing, etc., um, I'm not going to read this. I'll put this all in the comment section. Um, and there you go. So I want to know, have his ratings gone down? Have people on the left abandoned him? Or is he still getting 11 million views? You know, here's another good point that this guy, Johnny Harris, brought in. Like, Joe Rogan says, I'll have anybody on my show. Like, I could even play this actually, but I could, you know, it's like I'm a First Amendment guy. Like, I could have a right winger, extreme right winger. Like, this is free speech. But then when asked, are you going to have Donald Trump on the show? He goes, no, I don't want to help that guy. So, contradiction. Now you're saying that you don't want to platform him? Just listen to this, and I'll end it on this. Here we go.
He says a lot of times, like, platforming isn't a thing. Like, let all ideas are going to get out. There's no such thing as platforming. But then when asked if he wanted to have Trump on the show, he said, no, I don't want to help Trump. I don't want to help Trump. So it's like, oh, so you don't believe in platforming, but you believe that if he was on the show, you would help him. So there's that bit of a contradiction there. You can't deny that having someone on the show, especially a show that isn't fact-checked, like, he's sitting there unedited, unfiltered. He'll sometimes be like, hey, Google this thing. Let's look it up, you know, like, but he's not rigorously challenging big ideas. He sometimes is entranced by the ideas that, like, himself, like Alex Jones is spouting off some crazy idea about, like, genetics and DNA and other very, very problematic, like, eugenics types ideas. And Joe Rogan's just sitting there just fascinated, like, whoa, like, it's just like, I'm just like, what? This is scary stuff. It's like very validating that this curious guy is just letting this happen. I'm John Favreau. Welcome.
It's good. It's like, let's see, it's an hour. Oh no, it's only like an hour and a half or something. Johnny Harris, by the way, Hassan Piker's take is much better. His What Happened to Joe Rogan, check it out. Hasanabi, he's the best. He didn't like anything about this Johnny Harris, and I think he misses it a lot. I think he's intellectualizing it, over analyzing it, and he just doesn't know him. I know the guy. Like, not that I've met Rogan personally, but I mean thousands of hours. That was my guy. And the thing is, I don't think it was calculated that way. It wasn't calculated, oh, I want to do this to get this many views. I want to play the middle. It's just some guy who has this way. Joe Rogan is a very likable guy. I know he's a piece of shit asshole now, but really friendly, gets along with everyone, and it's very appealing, and it's disarming, like that average Joe, but smarter than the average bear. Joe Rogan is smart. I know some people say he's a dumb fuck. He's not, okay? And it's just so compelling and interesting, that sort of hang, no rules, kind of smoking pot, drinking, and all that. All right. More to come on this. I thought it was interesting. I haven't done a Joe Rogan video in a while. Here on Tabor Talk, good friends, good books. Excuse me, let me try that again. Good friends, good books, and a sleepy conscience. Peace, love, and understanding here on Tabor Talk.